to another episode of Vulgar Video Vlogtober. I am your host, Jessica. This is my co-host.
Sema.
And today we're going to be continuing on with our modern horror of week. We're watching The Conjuring, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Okay, so The Conjuring came out in 2013. The runtime is about 111 minutes. We are going to be watching this on Netflix. Again, it's just tough to find horror movies for free on like Tubi or Popcorn Flicks or even Crackle. The movie is directed by James Wan, who any horror fan knows directed and co-wrote the first Saw. He also did Insidious, which is the thing that messes people up between Insidious and The Conjuring, is because Patrick Wilson stars in both, so it's weird. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. Horror attracts certain types of people. Patrick Wilson also played Night Owl in Watchmen, one of my favorite movies.
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
One of my favorite movies, and yeah, it's my favorite graphic novel series. So.
I would rather watch that. I'm sorry. For those of you that have been keeping up with our series of Vulgar Video Vlogtober, you know that my favorite type of horror is campy or 80s horror. As far as when it comes to demons or ghosts, I'm not a super fan of it. There's a story to that, and if we get further down, that might be something I might talk about at the end of this series on why I don't like ghosts or demon movies. I have a legitimate reason. I'm just ready to get this over with, to be completely honest. If I'm gonna get scared, I'd rather let's just do it.
So let me ask you, Jessica, what are you expecting from this one?
I'm expecting for demons to just pop out of nowhere, so jump scares galore for sure. But not in a cheesy way. I don't know why I'm psyching myself up to be really scared, because the trailer just looked really creepy, and I'm just, I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm already feeling scared, and it hasn't even started yet. Plus, I hear from a lot of people it's really, really good, like from horror fans, so I'm assuming it's scary, like legitimately scary. So, because I don't see any reason for this to be comical at all.
I do think I have seen this before. I don't really remember it, probably because I know I've seen Insidious.
Mm-hmm.
But these ones kind of get all jumbled up. Like Insidious, The Conjuring, and Weirdly Sinister, probably because they came out in such rapid succession, they all get kind of jumbled up in my head. I'm hoping to revisit this. From what I remember, this is kind of like, I guess you could say, like the origin of like the Amityville horror, because these are the paranormal investigators who were sent there. So let's read the blurb real quick. Based on true events. I'm going to say right now, whenever you see that in a horror movie, be skeptical as fuck. Alright? Just be skeptical. Based on true events could mean one name is the same and everything else is different. So let me continue with the blurb. Based on true events, this spine chiller tells the story of a New England family who begins having encounters with spirits in their farmhouse. Sounds like the Amityville horror. But we're gonna have fun with this. She's not.
I think he's gonna have more fun with this. I'm going to be holding this pillow probably majority of the time, so.
Spooky, scary skeleton shivers down your spine. Too much spoop? Too spoopy for you?
Punch you.
Too much spoop. Anyways, we will see you guys. Hey, I'm gonna take the lead on this one.
Go for
I'm
it.
rebelling.
Go
Anyways,
for it.
we will see you guys in about 111 minutes.
Hello, and we are back from our adventure of watching The Conjuring.
So we're gonna do something a little bit different here. Normally, Jessica takes the point, and I kind of just follow up. This time I'm going to take the point because I am more well versed in demon, especially demon movies. She's getting good when it comes to ghost movies, but demons definitely are her. That is her crux. That is the nope, nope, nope. So, what I can say for The Conjuring is it's definitely very well done. Everything about it is very tight. The special effects that we see, the writing is very tight, the performances are very tight, everything is done very well, which leads you into, getting scared, obviously. If nothing looks out of place, everything works very well. It makes sense that this has an expanded universe, which doesn't normally happen in horror movies. Normally, horror movies will produce sequels, but they won't produce, offshoots. Fuck you, Paranormal Activity. But, and one of the best things about it, and I can see why after, because this again was directed by James Wan, I can see why he wanted to bring Patrick Wilson back in, because he's just great. He plays the serious part very well, and, a bit of comedic stuff in there as well that works really well to make you believe he's a real character. And just for a brief interlude, Jessica, your favorite line of the movie, it made you laugh really hard, which is a nice change of pace when you're being creeped out.
Yeah, so majority of the film, because again, I don't like demon movies, I was sitting with my security pillow.
Nothing wrong with it.
Unsettled. And so there was a point where Patrick Wilson's character, Ed, is talking to his wife, Lorraine. They're talking outside at their house, and I don't really remember the conversation they were having, but I do remember Lorraine was like, what was the question that I asked you on our wedding night? And Patrick Wilson's character goes, can we go again? It was funny because I was not expecting a sex joke, a subtle sex joke, but still a sex joke in this movie at all.
See, that's what helps you make a connection to the characters. They feel like real people now, as opposed to just characters that we're watching on a screen. They feel real. That feels like a real response that a husband and wife might have. So that's definitely helpful. Just overall, everything in this is well done. So it's one of those weird ones where it's really good, so there's not a lot to talk about. It's just very well done. I don't really want to go into the story too much in case you haven't watched it, because it's just riddled with spoilers. Every single thing would be a spoiler. So I'm going to throw over to you, Jessica. What did you think was some strong stuff going in there?
Well, I got creeped out. I don't like watching demon movies. However, when I do watch a horror movie, and especially since I've now gone further into watching horror movies, and I've expanded from Saw, which again have been directed and co-written by James Wan, so I know I like James Wan's films, but Saw isn't really scary. It's just really gory. The first Saw has actually a good plot, but that's for another time. What I like about watching horror movies is I just like pointing out things that are just kind of stupid, and we really should create a hashtag, nothing against white people, but I'm white, he's white, we're half white, so I just like pointing out the nopes.
So that's one white person. But
as far as my notes, I don't write a lot of notes. Usually when I do write a note, it's just nope.
So I'm sure you've all seen my notes that always sit here. The one note she wrote for this one, I'm going to read it verbatim. Nope, nope, nope. Child banging head into closet. Nope.
Nope.
It's a good note.
Again, my sister used to sleepwalk. That shit is scary. Okay, so when you have somebody sleepwalking and banging their head against the closet, nope, I'm not investigating the closet. Nope, I'm not going to leave the lights off and turn the door. if something's behind the door, I'm not just gonna do it in the dark. Nope. If I hear something in the cellar, I'm not going to investigate the cellar. Nope. It's just not happening. If my foot gets pulled at and I don't see anything, nope. It's time to leave. It's time to go. You can take my shit. I'm taking me and my cat and we're leaving. That's it.
Well, that's because you're well versed in horror movies now, and you know, you hear a creepy ass noise coming from the cellar.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Nah. I ain't investigating that. You hear a creepy noise coming from the attic.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Hear a creepy noise coming from downstairs? Well, I'm getting out the window.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna find a way out the window.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just horror movie logic 101. Which, thank goodness, you have passed that. A+ rating. 99.9%.
I like calling that stuff out. Plus, it's like fun to like, you know, just nope.
I would say the only real detractions for this, a bit over reliance on typical jump scares. They do mix in quite a good amount of, you know, just creepy stuff in the background, no musical cue, so you gotta pay attention. But they also do a lot of the ones that you can kind of set your watch to, where somebody's looking in a mirror and you know something is going to appear in front of the mirror that they're not looking at or in the mirror behind them with the musical cue. There's a bit of an over-reliance on that. But other than that, I even tried. The only other thing I said was it's based on a true story, but you got to kind of question the validity of that. Do that on your own time. If you want to believe it, go ahead. Believe it. But I'm more skeptical. So I guess with that, what is the rating? Because it definitely freaked you out.
It did.
Which, that is the true goal of a horror movie, is to kind of make you feel fear.
It's a good horror movie. As far as a modern horror movie, is it original? I mean, the trope isn't original, obviously, but the story itself and the way that it was handled, I thought it was really well done, and it creeped me out. I mean, I'm gonna have to give it I just still feel unsettled, so like it makes me want to give it a 5 out of 5 because I'm still feeling uncomfortable right now. Like, am I gonna be able to brush my teeth later tonight without feeling like there's something behind me? I'm in that state of mind right now because we're fresh off watching the movie. So I might think differently later on. But for now, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 because I'm still feeling pretty uncomfortable right now.
Well, I generally agree with you. I'm going to have to give it a 4 out of 5. The reason I'm going with a 4 out of 5 is, yes, this is very well done. There's no arguing that. And it did create a horror universe, which is such a rarity in the horror movie genre. Because again, you normally get sequels. That's common. But an expanded universe on top of that never happens. Looking at you, Universal, trying to do that cheese. That failed hard. But for me, the biggest problem is over-reliance on typical jump scares. Because James Wan, you're damn good, and I know you're better than that. I know you are. I've seen it. Dead Silence. Check it out. And the other problem is this feels, especially because we get the opening and the ending with the blurbs about how it's a true story, and even at the end we get pictures of the real life family and Lorraine Warren. You're really trying to sell me that it's a true story. I don't need that. That's unnecessary for me. So you get a 4 out of 5. You could have just ran with this. You know, drop the base on the true story thing. You know, maybe that was contractually obligated or something, but you can drop that and yeah, it would be a 4.5 out of 5. It's still not perfect. Again, the over-reliance on jump scares is kind of annoying, but so you're a 4 out of 5, which is still brilliant. I'm starting to think that modern horror movies are gonna kind of rival our last week's meta horror. People keep saying, like, you know, the horror movie genre has sucked for like 20 years or something. It really hasn't. You just gotta figure out which ones are good.
I think
that's been true since the horror movie genre has been around.
I feel like honestly that's true with any genre though, regardless of horror. I think it's just a matter of knowing when something is a cash grab and when something is like done with care and finesse and somebody put their work into it. Like somebody tried, not just try, they put their hard work into it. I feel like with any good movie, it has to come from all aspects. It can't just come from the director. It can't just come from the actors. It can't just come from the sound guy. They all have to work together in order to create a good movie. Like for example, what's a really like beautifully aesthetic movie, but it's just such shit?
Avatar.
That's a perfect example. It's aesthetically beautiful. Everybody acted well in it. The sound was great, but it just overall
the story is basic.
The story is basic. It's like white people savior trope, which is
Whoa. Do not belittle Michelle Rodriguez.
I'm not belittling Michelle Rodriguez, but you have these stereotypical tropey basic ass characters.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's what hurts it. So I think the problem with modern horror movies is that, I know you point this out a lot, horror movies are cheap to make. So it's easy to just pump those suckers out. And so there are good ones, you just have to find them. To sift through all the shit, which is what we're doing.
It's the same thing with like comedy movies, you know? Comedy movies are very cheap to make. So if you are a huge comedy film fan, you will know that there are 100 ones that are just lowbrow, easy peasy, just super easy comedy. And then you find one like something like Bridesmaids, something along those lines that's been well done and well thought out. It's a diamond in the rough. It's something that you found amongst a bunch of shit. Same thing with horror movies. Horror movies are cheap to make, that's why studios, because especially if you decide to release them in October, you may have shot it for $7 million, you release it in October, even if it's hot garbage, it's gonna make $20 million. So, and you don't have to advertise it as much as you would, say, Avengers or something like that. So there's no advertising budget, really. So you make your money back, and that helps you, pay for an actor for another movie. That's what horror movies generally are. And there's nothing wrong with that, because every now and then you get one that is just, mwah! It's just beautiful. It's perfect. So I guess that's going to wrap this one up.
Alright. So thank you for tuning in on this episode of Vulgar Video Vlogtober. I will be probably looking over my shoulder for the next couple of nights. And we will see you guys in the next one.